Goliath's Nest. Chapter 4. Broadcasts in the Void. A ripple of lights danced across the holoscreens in makeshift viewing lounges, private quarters, and command centers. On Mars, commuter stations paused as citizens gathered around holoprojectors. On Callisto, research outposts muted routine experiments to catch the feed. Even in the belt-spinning habitats, miners and merchants exchanged worried glances as news nodes flickered to life. The anchor's visage hovered in living rooms and plazas, crisp suit, calm demeanor, but eyes betraying tension. Today, Goliath's Declaration of Independence and Uplift mission is being replayed across settlement networks. Reactions range from hopeful optimism to outright fear of solar system fragmentation. She gestured to a graph showing sentiment indexes, spikes of support on frontier worlds, rising dissent on core planets. Behind her, a ticker scrolled urgent bulletins, Unity Council debates response. Military alert status raised to condition blue. Her voice remained steady. We will bring you live coverage of official statements from High Council representatives. Stay tuned for expert analysis on potential ramifications. As she signed off to a commercial break, producers whispered about coordinating a panel, a Goliath sympathizer, a Unity hardliner, and a neutral mediator. The anchor braced herself. This broadcast could inflame passions or quell them, depending on tone. She rehearsed calm phrasing, avoid language that painted Goliath as outright traitors, yet not downplay threat. Every phrase felt like walking a political minefield. Months earlier, Julius Morgan's orbital study. The room was dimly lit by a single desk lamp and holographic charts of Planet X's orbital trajectory. Julius leaned forward, stylus in hand, hovering over the manifesto draft. Words glowed midair. We, the explorers and pioneers of Planet X, claim the right to develop this world for the uplift of all humanity, unshackled by bureaucratic inertia. He paused, recalling Miranda's voice. Frame it not as rebellion, but as unfulfilled partnership. He removed a phrase implying outright secession, replacing it with rhetoric of mutual benefit. We extend a hand to unity, to share knowledge and resources, but insist on autonomy to preserve pioneering spirit. He remembered Jerome's excitement as he reviewed early versions. Father, this speaks to the frontier dream. Simon had studied the economics section, nodding at projected resource flows. Cynthia had suggested adding a compassionate clause about safety protocols and disaster cooperation, her empathy already shining through. Julius approved, hoping this might soften Unity's reaction. Yet he sensed hidden undercurrents. Some allies would later accuse him of naivete, others exploit the ambiguity for power. He saved the draft, encrypted it, and arranged for its secure broadcast via clandestine channels, timed to coincide with station feeds across outer colonies. In that moment, optimism reigned. The message would spark hope of renewal. He did not yet know how it would fuel fear and polarization. In a subterranean media room that was a broadcast hub on Moon Alpha, holopanels displayed Unity news feeds and local reaction data. Liane Morrow adjusted overlays on a live Goliath broadcast showing images of smiling colonists working mines, scientists examining flora, children playing in habitat parks beneath alien skies. The message, Planet X offers abundance, innovation, and freedom. We invite Unity to join as equal partner in exploration, not as overlord stifling progress. Behind Liane, technicians tracked viewer engagement, zones of enthusiastic reception on frontier habitats, pockets of skepticism on core worlds like Luna and Earth. Liane inserted subtle messaging, clips of Unity bureaucrats stalling projects, hints of old grievances from Mars settlers. The goal, stoke just enough discontent to rally support without tipping into open hostility. Suddenly, an alert, an unauthorized data stream intercepted the broadcast. A fractured hollow overlay glitched onto the screen. Dark glyphs reminiscent of precursor relic inscriptions flashed for a heartbeat, then vanished. Viewers gasped. Technicians scrambled to remove the glitch. Liane's heart froze. Was this sabotage by Unity hackers? A warning from within Goliath radicals? Or something more mysterious, an external faction using the relic imagery to unsettle both sides? Liane quickly masked the feed. Technical malfunction. Please stand by. But the seed of unease had sprouted. She flagged the incident to higher-ups. Possible sabotage or coded message. Investigate immediately. In a confined module aboard an asteroid station, Circuit and a small team huddled around shared terminals, code streams reflecting in determined eyes. They had monitored Goliath's declaration and Unity's counterstatements for weeks. Some among them saw Goliath as liberators from centralized control. Others feared the chaos of fragmentation. Circuit proposed a data leak, internal Unity documents proving suppression of Planet X research, fuel for Goliath's moral high ground. Another member warned, leaks will provoke Unity crackdown and push Goliath to harden stance. Circuit hesitated. Then a third faction surfaced in their chat, individuals claiming knowledge of precursor relic warnings. They urged Circuit to embed glyphs into Goliath broadcasts, a mystic warning that awakening the nest threatens all. The glyphs, they argued, would jolt both sides to consider deeper risks. Circuit was intrigued but wary. Meddling with broadcasts could spark panic or chaos. Still, the allure of influencing history in this fracturing system was powerful. Circuit coded a covert module. It would intercept Goliath broadcast feeds at the hub level and inject the glyph overlay at unpredictable intervals. Testing showed it would vanish too quickly for most to decipher fully, but would provoke speculation. Circuit deployed the code, watching logs to see if anyone noticed. Now, hearing reports from Goliath's propagandist Lien confirmed the glitch. The operation had succeeded. Circuit leaned back, heart pounding. Had they nudged the system toward caution or catastrophe? They did not yet know. In a cramped living quarter on Mars, Morrow and his partner, Zara, huddled around a hollow projector. Their 2 children hovered, wide-eyed. The Goliath Declaration replayed. Promises of richer resources and autonomy sounded appealing, but Unity News anchors' panels warned of war. Morrow clenched his jaw. As a miner, he had struggled under Unity's resource quotas, but conflict could devastate his family's livelihood and safety. Zara placed a hand on his arm. If Goliath offers true partnership, maybe life could improve, but can we trust them? What if Unity responds with force? The children exchanged frightened looks. The overlay glitch with alien glyphs earlier that day had unsettled them. What does that symbol mean? The younger child asked. Morrow could offer no answer. The household remained tense, torn between hope and dread as broadcasts continued. Arden watched multiple feeds, Unity News anchors coverage, intercepted Goliath broadcasts, and encrypted chatter from belt hacker networks. He noted the reports of broadcast glitch, precursor glyph overlay. He convened a secure console with intelligence officers. We have evidence of broadcast tampering on Goliath's side, but origin unclear, he said. Possibilities. Unity dissidents aiming to provoke distrust, Goliath hardliners undermining moderates, or a third party with unknown agenda. We must tread carefully. Accusing Goliath outright risks derailing cooperation on subspace crisis. Ignoring it could let a dangerous narrative spread. An intelligence officer responded, "We traced some signatures to belt relay nodes, suspected hacker collective involvement. But without revealing our full capabilities, we can't definitively expose them publicly." Arden nodded. Prepare a confidential report for Unity Council, outline plausible scenarios, but hold off on public accusations. At the same time, we can discreetly share findings with Goliath's security team to help root out sabotage. Emphasize shared responsibility. Both sides want stability. He sent a coded message to Alara Vance. Broadcast glitch, likely sabotage from fringe actors. Coordinate mutual investigation. Shared data under dual control encryption. He then drafted a subtle Unity News bulletin. We are aware of recent broadcast disruptions affecting information streams regarding Planet X. Investigations underway to ensure accurate communication. Viewers urged to verify official sources and remain calm. The tone was measured. Acknowledge without alarm, reassure without revealing depth of knowledge. An excerpt of Cynthia Morgan's private journal read. April 14th, Stardate 2398.14. I watched Father finalize the declaration wording. He framed it as partnership, but I sensed the undertow. Once broadcast, the message would embolden some and terrify others. I wrote a note urging inclusion of safety clauses and reminders of shared risks, but saw only cursory edits. I wonder, will my caution be drowned by the roar of ambition? That memory surfaced now as Cynthia reviewed public reactions. She felt the weight. Her suggestions had tempered parts of the manifesto, but she feared they might not suffice against the tide of polarization. The glyph glitch hinted at deeper symbolic anxieties she had once foreseen. The relic warnings, now surfacing in unexpected ways, could reshape the narrative beyond political spin. Via HoloLink, Alara and Dr. Soren conferred over decrypted logs of the broadcast glitch. On one hand, the glyph patterns matched precursor inscriptions they had studied in relic chamber scans, complex, non-trivial to replicate. On the other, metadata pointed to relay nodes in the belt, matching circuits suspected hacker collective. Alara's fingers danced over consoles. We must confirm if any internal Goliath systems were compromised or if the code was injected externally at relay hubs. Dr. Soren nodded. I'll cross-reference Unity probe logs for similar intrusions. We need a synchronized timeline. When did the overlay appear relative to specific relay timestamps? If we triangulate, we can identify likely origin nodes. They arranged for a secure tri-party data sharing, Goliath's security team, Unity's intelligence analysts, and a neutral third-party technician from a frontier colony, invited to maintain balance. The session began under heavy encryption, screens flickering with code maps and network graphs. Tension crackled, all participants keenly aware that uncovering the perpetrator could inflame factional tensions. Unity hardliners might accuse Goliath moderates of complicity. Goliath hardliners might claim Unity planted false evidence. Alara spoke firmly. Our priority is preventing escalation from manipulated narratives. We cannot allow fringe actors to dictate the system's path. Once we identify the source, we address them quietly, expose motives, integrate findings into our shared safety protocols. Dr. Soren added, agreed. Transparency among us now builds trust, but findings must be handled with discretion. Though not yet in session, Julius and Arden each anticipated the upcoming debate over broadcast sabotage findings. Both new hardliners would seize the moment. Some Unity counselors would push for punitive measures against Goliath. Some Goliath leaders would decry Unity intrusion. The balance would hinge on shared technical evidence and mutual willingness to contain the narrative. Behind closed doors, they prepared talking points, emphasized third-party sabotage, stressed necessity of calm. Yet both sensed how fragile the alliance was. One misstep in this investigation could tip the system into open conflict. Late in the joint investigation session, Alara magnified the glyph overlay captured from the glitch. Under enhanced filters, patterns resolved into fragmentary phrases echoing precursor warnings, words translating loosely to heed the threshold and awaken not the slumbering core. The sense was ominous, not direct prophecy, but cautionary echoes from ancient hands. Alara's breath caught. Was this mere symbol chosen to sow fear, or a genuine warning tied to Planet X's deeper mysteries? As the team stared at the rotating glyph map, Dr. Soren's voice trembled. If these are authentic precursor inscriptions, someone knew enough about relic warnings to select them deliberately. This is no random hacker prank, it's a targeted psychological strike. The HoloLink window flickered as subspace interference spiked, a reminder of the resonance instability brewing beneath. In that charged moment, participants felt the dual specter of human intrigue and ancient power. The glitch's message held the potential to steer both politics and destiny. The question loomed, would they decipher its true meaning in time to avert chaos, or would the symbol's fear become the spark of a new fire? As screens dimmed and channels closed, the ghostly glyph patterns lingered in their minds, a silent siren calling them to uncover deeper truths before the system's fractures widened beyond repair. End of Chapter 4.